Hey everyone, welcome to Zelda Speedruns. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Sorry for the delay in setup. Okay, looks like my audio is coming through correctly. Yeah, apparently TGH's trees or his power company hate him. So yeah, that's a thing. But we can't control that. So we're here and this lecture is all about Ganon and it's going to be targeted towards all skill levels as best as possible. There's going to be some bonus tips on mental game. And special thanks to mentor Sean her for being on backup as a last minute just in case his power was not restored. But I'll go ahead and let TGH take over from here. He has a lot of knowledge to offer you guys, and good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pops. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, before I start, I just want to give like a big shout out to the tree in my neighborhood that decided to fall on a power line in like no more than 5-mile-an-hour winds in my neighborhood, and almost made me miss this, which I really did not want to miss this. But yeah, we're here, we're good, everything's fine, we're up and running, and y'all are gonna learn some Ganon today. All right, so first off, hi, I'm TGH. I speedrun a lot of 2D Zelda. I've been speedrunning Link to the Past on and off, both any percent NMG and randomizer since 2017. So I've done a lot of Ganon fights in my day. So I figured I'd be way better at teaching this than I would something at GT, or than I would teaching like something like Ganon's Tower. So all right, where to start with Ganon? Okay, so, first and foremost, couple things to know before we get in here. If you are like right now, I'm gonna teach gold, sword, and silver strats first and foremost, because I want to teach like more beginner stuff first, just because I feel like there will be more gotten out of that than out of like some of the more advanced strats that I might have to offer with like tempered and only tempered. But yeah, so I'm going to be starting off with gold sword and with silver arrows. So, which do make the fight significantly easier, especially to get like what they call a 1-in-1, which is a 1 cycle phase 1 and then a 1 cycle phase 2. Basically, before he warps anywhere, you can get like both of the first 2 cycles done, and then move on to the 3rd cycle. The 2nd cycle is going to be the hardest one to do, with actually I think like all of the strats that I'm going to show you, both the gold sword and silvers, and the tempered sword only. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. So the first thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be landing into the Ganon fight, and you're going to be basically holding up. You can hit him before he actually starts talking. He's going to say 3 lines of dialogue. You're going to mash through all of them and then start hitting him again. So like I'm just going to hit him once. And then on the 3rd line of dialogue here, this is kind of like the weirdest part of phase 1, I think, at least. So once you actually clear this dialogue, you're going to be slashing immediately again. You can do this in a couple different ways. You can either hit one of your L or R buttons to cancel this text and then immediately press B to swing. Or you can just like press B twice. If you're in range, you'll hit him. If you're not, just like tap up to hit him. Basically, the goal is to hit him 6 times before he holds up his trident after he warps. After he warps, not before he warps. So with Gold Sword, this is very lenient. And it's like, you have a lot of time to get the 6 hits in. So it's going to look something like this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can get 6 hits in before he even warps at all. But if you don't, you can just hit him 1 or even 2 more times or 3 more times even before he starts holding up his trident. Like, I don't know, 3 or so seconds after he finishes warping. Concerning where he can warp to here, he'll do the same exact thing until he starts warping every time. He'll like throw the trident, and he'll usually throw the trident like way out to the right, and then it'll come back. So I guess if you're not careful, you can get hit by it. That's a lot more relevant with tempered strats. So, but we're focusing on gold for now. So Like, just move clear out of the way. Honestly, the focus should be not getting hit by the trident. So yeah, you want to get like sort of behind Ganon. There are 4 different spots he can warp to. He can move to. Let me get my magic yellow arrow here. He can warp to here where he is right now. He can warp to like right about here. He can warp to here, or he can warp to here as like a sort of mirror, like position to where he is now, just on the right side of the room. So this is one of the places he can warp to, obviously. So if he warps to the left, and I'll go over each and every like place he can warp to. So when he's on the left-hand side like this, and you have 6 hits in, you can just kind of wait until he holds up his trident, because that's when the next phase starts. So any hits you get in before that won't actually do anything if you have the hits in already to advance the phase, to advance the phase 2. So what you're going to do is, as soon as he starts holding up the trident, you're just going to slash him 6 times. And this is actually like probably one of the weirder RNGs here, because when he holds up his trident and all of the fire bats like kind of surround the trident, right? You're going to be in a position where you can only move up a tiny bit before you actually run into the bats. So you're going to do one of 2 different things, and I'll try and showcase them both. You're going to do one of 2 different things. You're going to either just move a little bit to the left. You can actually do this from like the bottom right. So you can like slash him from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move out of the way. And then 5, 6. And by the way, you want to have hookshot actually equipped when you enter the fight. I have bow for some reason. I think I went to select them before the fight starts, but you'd have hookshot coming in here in most, if not all, scenarios. So, but if you don't have hookshot, you want hookshot. It's just a very good item to have equipped for a couple of different reasons. One, you can hookshot the torches to get out of the way of these bats, and also using the hookshot gives you invincibility frames, which I'll get into as well. Like anytime when the hookshot is out, you cannot get hit by the bats, which is very valuable in this fight. So yeah, you can either do that, or you can hang in the bottom right here like this, just get 6 hits in, either run away or use the hookshot. You can use the hookshot from here, straight right, and then dodge the bats, or use invincibility frames with the hookshot to dodge those bats. Keep in mind when using the hookshot, if you are even 1 pixel off the wall here, so say you go like say you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you want to use the hookshot to dodge and then do 5 and 6 like that. If you are even 1 pixel off of the bottom wall, you'll hookshot the torch, and you kind of don't want that when you're trying to hit him 6 times, right? So just be aware of that. Just make sure you are completely flush up against the bottom wall when using the hookshot going right or left. Otherwise you will hit the torch. Like even right now, I was like literally 1 pixel off the wall and I hit the torch. So, but yeah, once again, hookshot, very valuable. I keep wanting to say vulnerable for some reason. In reality, it makes you not vulnerable. But another thing you can do if you're having trouble finding that position is you can actually, once he starts holding up the trident, you can dash through Ganon and cancel your dash, and just kind of hang out inside, because the trident doesn't have a hitbox while he's like holding it, right? It's only when he throws it that it has a hitbox. So you can kind of just like dash through him and camp out here, and then just like dash. And this does take a pretty like tight-ish timing with canceling your dash or stopping your dash, like just pressing left to stop your dash. But as soon as the bats expand, watch what I can do. I can get 4 hits in and prevent my knockback by being in a position where Link will just get knocked back into the wall, right? So I can get like 4 really quick hits in right there. So that's 5, and then all I need is 1 more, like that. And then it's actually like, I don't know, personally, I find it almost easier to dodge the bats when you are within the circle of bats. Yeah, like they are absolutely worth learning. You're right, Sliver. For sure. Like they are absolutely worth learning. By the way, I am looking at chat. If anybody has any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer. Like, you know, this can absolutely be interactive. But yeah, so honestly, with the bottom left, with the leftmost warp here, I honestly find dashing up through him to be the easiest way to avoid the bats. So another thing about the bats. So there's this thing in the game's code called an arc variable. Just know the only thing you need to know about arc variable is that if you did the so last week y'all probably learned about the Ice Armos fight in Ganon's Tower. If you did that fight cleanly, the same fire bat will always start coming at you first. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically, like, if I were to do this again, right? If I were to do this again, this is really only relevant if you do dash pokes like this, or if you do, like, dashes through. So that bottom right bat is going to be coming at me every single time. Assuming I did the Ice Armos fight cleanly in Ganon's Tower. That is because that arc variable gets kind of... It just doesn't get changed from there until here. And it concerns things that go around in a circle, right? Kind of like the Ice Armos do in Ganon's Tower. And it also involves these bats here. So, yeah, your first movement is always going to be up and right to avoid that one, and then the rest is just like kind of dancing around them. But as long as you stay within the circle, you won't actually get hit by the bats, as long as you move like kind of perpendicular to them. It does take some practice to get down. Like everything in this fight is going to take practice. This is not an easy fight. Especially Ganon is going to take a while to actually get down and practice things. Can do the Ice Armor's fight too fast if you have silvers. That's a good point, actually. I'm going to be honest with you and say that I don't know anything about how silvers affect this. But just be aware, if you do silvers and you do it cleanly, it'll be consistent for you. It'll be a thing where, and without doing like the entire second half of Ganon's Tower along with this, I won't actually know. Wait, can you do it too fast? Okay, yeah, I'm honestly not sure either. But basically, yeah, if you do the fight with silvers, I don't know how it affects it. Just be aware that it'll affect it the same way every time if you do it cleanly. So like, just be aware that be aware of that, I suppose. If at any point if at any point the Ice Armos fight goes wrong, the arc variable will be different when you come into the Ganon fight, and like a basically random bat will fly at you, right? So just something to keep in mind. Let's move on to a different place he can warp to. Let's do Ganon. Okay, so also another really valuable thing to know is that in your practice hack, I have like kind of an old version of the practice hack, but this also is present in like the more current versions. RNG control. You can actually change where Ganon warps to. Either the far left, which is the pattern that I just got, right? The Wait, far left? Yeah, bottom left, which is like the center left, right? Bottom right, which is like the center right, and far right. So you can actually change this to practice each one, which is extremely valuable. So let's work on the bottom left. So again, the beginning of the fight looks like this. I have Tempered Sword. Hold on, let me switch to Gold Sword and Silver Arrows, and then save a state. As far as I know, getting red mail should not affect the arc variable at all. So if he moves here, there is room underneath Ganon's butt, basically, to stand. But you only need one more slash with Gold Sword. Just be aware that this is a spot you can stand here. Just don't touch Ganon. Especially if you don't get red mail. Just don't touch Ganon. Ganon does 8 hearts of damage, I think. But yeah, so from here, what I want to do is just hit him once, and then I definitely want to do dash pokes here, right? I definitely want to do dash pokes here. So, or rather, just dashing. It's not like a dash poke. It's not like a poke dash, which can get a little bit confusing with terminology, but it's just dashing into him and then immediately canceling your dash, basically. He does look huggable, especially from this angle, but yeah, just don't. Okay, so yeah, from here, as soon as he starts lifting up the trident rather, I'm gonna dash up through him and end up right here. You can kind of do the same thing when the bats expand. You can slash and use the torch behind Ganon to get slashes in, but I feel like it might be easier, or see what's easier for you. But you can either do that, or you can just dash, 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 and that's it. You just need 6 with Gold Sword to advance the cycle. And then avoid the bats. So concerning the way Ganon warps after phase 2, so this is phase 3 now. He's gonna warp. He's always gonna warp from bottom to top or top to bottom, and the places he can warp to at the top of the room completely mirror where he can warp to at the bottom. So he can warp either up here, he can warp a little bit higher and a little bit more to the right. So like basically mirroring the center left or center right spots here. So like he'll warp here, or he'll warp here. And now he's just in a situation where he'll just warp as many times as he wants, basically. And it's like 2 seconds each time he warps. So RNG is fun, but just be aware that like once he materializes completely, then you can slash him. You only need to slash him once. You only need to hit him once to advance to like phase 3, sub phase 2, whatever you want to call it. Basically, when he smashes the floor and the top row and then the right column and then the bottom row will all like collapse as you do that once after the other. But basically, he'll go top to bottom to top to bottom to top to bottom. He'll never go from right to left, right? Or at worst, he'll go from bottom left to top right. But it's always gonna go, he'll never go from like bottom left to bottom right, right? It's always from top to bottom or bottom to top at this point. So you just want to hit him when he materializes. If he doesn't materialize, just chase after him, and he's giving me really good RNG right now. Thanks, Ganon. So yeah, this phase is just nice, and this phase is the simplest. So 2 more times. Yeah, again, you only need to hit him once. If you're a little bit late to hit him, he'll like spawn a bat that flies around in a circle, and that can get a little bit annoying to deal with. But once you hit him a final time here, this is the last time, it corresponds with the last column of tiles on the left-hand side falling, right? So what you want to do is you want to equip Lamp. You can do this with Fire Rod, and that's a little bit more of an advanced strat, but if you want to guarantee that you get something called Torch Glitch, Torch Glitch is essential for the Ganon fight, whether you get silvers or not. It's not as essential if you get silvers in Gold Sword, but with Tempered Sword, listen up, Tempered Sword players. This is crucial to get. You do not want to miss Torch Glitch if you don't get gold and silvers. Really, if you use Lamp, it's almost like it's kind of hard to miss. But yeah, like so about a second after the last tile falls, the torches are going to go out, but the left torch is going to go out first, and then the right torch is going to go out about a half a second from each other. You have a window of time to light that left torch before the right torch goes out. And if you're able to do that, the right torch will just never go out. That's Torch Glitch. And what that does is it keeps the right-hand torch lit throughout the entire rest of the fight, so you only need to worry about the left-hand torch. So we're going to what we're going to do here is, okay, he's staying down at the bottom. He can either stay here or warp up to the top. Or warp, to the opposite side of the room, going up and down, right? So it's important to bait this first shot. He's going to start shooting fire bats at you, right? Like straight at you in a projectile manner. He'll start firing them at you, right? You want to bait that shot. So like sort of like make him miss, right? Just make sure you're able to bait this first shot and then move down to the left. And like at this point, you're pretty free to just like stand at the torch and just mash the heck out of the lamp button and make sure that you don't miss that. Like honestly, if you do that, you can use like if you enter the fight with full magic, which you always should, you can use the lamp as many times as you want. Like and you shouldn't have to worry about magic, especially if you keep the lamp equipped to light the torch again. Like with Fire Rod, really, like you have plenty of magic, no matter how much you use the lamp. But like you see how I just like mash the heck out of Y there to light that torch. Like just make sure you light it. There are some lag frames to deal with there, frames where the game just kind of stops. When the torch goes out, the game will freeze for a little bit. Just make sure you keep mashing even past that, because it's really easy to mash, and then the lag frame happens and you stop mashing. And guess what happens? The torch doesn't get lit because you tried to mash on a frame where the game didn't accept the input. So lag frames are a big part of this fight. Just be aware of that. There's like I forget how many lag frames there actually are when a torch goes out, but it's a pretty significant, it's a substantial amount of time. So I'll just be aware of that. But now that we've got Torch Glitch, we only have to worry about the left torch. Very important. Right? So since we have silvers, by the way, I'm going to go over the final two positions in the first phase. I hadn't forgotten about those. The final two positions in the first phase, the center right and the far right. I'll go over those after I finish describing phase 4. I'm on a roll right now. I'm going through, and we're not stopping. But I'll go over those final two positions. They are the most simple positions to deal with, in my opinion. At least the far right one is. The middle right one is very similar. In fact, exactly the same to the middle left one, pretty much, except you just can't slash against the torch. Anyway, let's continue on with phase 4. So now that I've got Torch Glitch, I'm going to wait until he warps again, and I'm going to slash as soon as he materializes. If I'm a little more late than that with the slash, he's going to fire a bat at me, and I don't want him to fire a bat. So now that he's blue, I'm going to hit him with some silver arrows. You can get more than one shot in. You can get as many as 4, actually, if it's very rare to get a 4. It is possible, but it's not really practical. I've gotten 3. I've never gotten 4, but in like a randomizer. But here, I should be able to get 2, like this. So something to note about firing multiple arrows at Ganon. If you knock him, you notice how I approached him from the left-hand side? There was a reason for that. If I were to approach him from the top and like shoot him going down, he would have been knocked against the hole. And if you knock him against the edge of the arena or against a torch, he will immediately teleport away, and that prevents you from getting a second shot in or another shot in after that hit. So just be aware of that. You want to knock him. It's kind of like Mothula in the sense that you don't want to knock Mothula into the spikes with a sword slash. It's kind of like that. Just like think of it a little bit like that. But yeah, so that's 2 hits already. You need 4. So we're just going to go up to the top of the room and do the same thing. Okay, so that one didn't quite land. So we're just going to light this torch one more time and get that last hit. So if you're doing gold, sword, and silvers, that's the Ganon fight. And yeah, gold and silvers really, like, they make this fight a lot simpler. I would highly recommend, honestly, if you have any sort of trouble with this fight, until you, like, sort of get your runs off the ground, if you're a beginner, like, I would highly recommend starting out with gold, sword, and silvers, doing the Pyramid Fairy route, and getting those gold and silvers. Let me go over really quick. Let me go over these other RNGs. So the bottom right one. Bottom right one is very similar. Oh wait, it didn't save. Hold on. That wasn't my fault, chat, I swear. Alright, bottom right. Let's try again. Your mentor banned gold and silvers? Well, that sucks. Why are you still going bottom left? Ganon. Ganon is disobeying me. Hang on. Okay. Wait, is it because of the loaded state? Hang on, I don't know how to use the practice hack, apparently. RNG control. Yeah, okay, it's because I loaded the state. Alright, let's save a state now with bottom right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to show that you can get the last hit, 6, like that. So here, with the bottom right RNG, you definitely want to sort of camp here. There really is no easier way to do this than just dashing, if you ask me. Like, I guess you kind of could try and camp under here, but it's really awkward. I would highly recommend getting used to the dashing strats here. 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, with gold, that's all you need. You just need 6. And once again, Ganon really showing how much he likes to screw you over. I'm really good at coin flips, I swear. It is a 50-50 shot for him to warp at any given warp. So these really are just coin flips. Like, Ganon, I'm trying to give a lecture here, damn it. Please. This is like 13 so far. There we go. So one thing that you noticed that I did there was immediately after getting the last slash, I started charging. You can do this if you want. There is a chance if Ganon, remember how the last time I, this is again a lot more relevant with Tempered Sword. You want to do this with Tempered Sword to get like your first hit in. So there's a certain RNG. Ganon can stay at the bottom of the room. And if he stays at the bottom of the room, he'll turn blue right here. That actually did happen. Or I didn't get in this position, but it did happen, right? It did happen the first time I even tried this. So with Gold Sword, you want Ganon to be blue here. Like, you actually want to see blue Ganon here. Like, there we go. Cool. I got blue Ganon. That's awesome. And now I can just get 2 hits in right away with silvers. So I can equip silvers, shoot twice, and then equip lamp, get torch glitch, and then go up. Okay, it's not quite there. I was a little bit late getting up there, that's why. There we go. So yeah, you can do that, and that's like, so once the top right hand and bottom tiles are gone, so basically like phase 3, cycle 3, or whatever, 3.3, sure. Basically when you on the last hit on that phase, you can slash Ganon and then hold your sword out right away to get a spin slash. By the way, if you didn't know, and this will once again be much more relevant with Tempered Sword, if you didn't know, when you slash, your sword does have a moving hitbox, right? Like the hitbox actually moves along with the sword. However, when you spin, it is just a giant square around you in the form of basically an area of effect attack. And it lasts throughout the entire duration of the spin. So just imagine when you let go of a spin, right? There's just a giant square that can hurt enemies or hit things around Link for the entire duration of that spin. This is actually really easily showcased by going to a place with a crystal switch. And I'll show you what I mean. So let's go... I'm going to take a quick detour from Ganon right now, and we're going to go to this crystal switch in this room right here. Whoops, that you want to press down before hookshotting that wall. Okay, let's get rid of this guy. Okay, so if I were to hit this once with, or swing once with sword, right? The crystal switch hits once, right? Just like you would think. But if I were to sit here and spin, because that square around me is active throughout the entire duration of the spin, I hit it 3 times. Just because that square is constantly active. So that's the best example I can give of that. What that does is it makes it so that you have a very large window to do some things in this game, including during the Ganon fight. You have a very large window to release your spin on things that would ordinarily, with a single slash, take or only be possible during a couple of frames. One of those things is Ganon warping away. Because Ganon is actually vulnerable for 2 frames when he warps away. He's vulnerable to a sword slash, right? As he's warping away. So by spinning, you take that 2-frame window and you turn it into however many frames a spin lasts for, which is a giant difference. It's like not even close. it takes it from a super tight input and one that can't possibly be consistent to just spin to win, basically. Let me go ahead and showcase the bottom right, or the far right Ganon warp real quick. There we go. So the far right, you can kind of do that dashing strat and then like the slashes up against the wall, but I still would do this. Or you can do this and then dash here, 1, 2, and then like kind of do it over there. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit tighter. As a matter of fact, I would actually just recommend staying near the torch, like underneath the torch. So I'll show you what I mean by that. 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the wrong place to warp to. Hang on. Right, forgot about that. So he's gonna warp far right here. So there we go. I'll just... There's your 6. And then hookshot to avoid the bats. And then hookshot again. And then okay, so like what I do here, what I like to do, if I am outside the bats, right? If I'm like outside the bat circle and I want to try to dodge the bats, I will like, because they home in on Link for the most part with some variants, I'm going to be tapping up sort of like in a staggered pattern like that. And then one of them is going to come close to hitting me, right? Like one of the later ones is going to come close to hitting me. But right before that happens, I'm going to hookshot down to the torch. So like, I don't really like doing that though. That might be easier for some people, but I don't really like doing that because it's just sometimes you hookshot and then like there's a bat just like right there. That's kind of like just where Link is, which is really hard if not impossible to avoid. But at least you only get hit once. I don't think I mean, if you do it like that, it's kind of hard to get hit more than once. So, like, but that is a thing you can do. However, I definitely like more just getting inside the fire bats. I feel like it's easier. I personally feel like it's easier to dodge the fire bats when you are in the circle and just moving perpendicular, getting used to that movement, getting used to the timing of the bats flying at you and just dodging them one by one instead of like just the huge amount of variance that can happen when you're outside the fire bat circle and trying to dodge them that way, right? So I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I think staying inside the bats is like kind of, I think overall it's easier to avoid them that way. So like, I don't know, maybe for all 4 of these patterns, just 3, 4, 5. It depends on how comfortable you are with the dash, right? And how comfortable you are with this. But like, especially if you have a consistent Ice Armors fight, these bats will fly at you the same way every single time. And then it's just the same kind of movements every single time as well. I can, like, honestly, I can do my dodge pattern and just, like, show you what I do to avoid the bats, and like, it's pretty consistent. So, like, I will... There's my 7. Don't need 7, just need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me save a state here, just so that I can show this over and over. So yeah, it's kind of like up, right, down, left, and then up, down, up, left, up, right. If you want to memorize a sort of like, a sort of pattern. But yeah, it's like I kind of try to move perpendicularly to each of them. Like that. Yeah, so that's how I hit him. Like, this is a good example of, like, the circle bats that he'll do. It's like, he does that, and those make it kind of annoying sometimes to actually get to Ganon to hit him. These flames, I believe, do 2 hearts of damage. With green mail, at least. But yeah. So that's like... That's basically everything with Gold Sword. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I can, like, remember, that's, like, basically all I can tell you about Gold Sword and Silvers. There's one. Yeah, so right here, like, this position right here is kind of unfortunate because there's really nowhere you can go to hit him away from the arena. So you just kind of have to accept the one hit and move on. Here, though, you can get under him like this if you're brave. Gotta be a little brave sometimes, you know? Like... by the way, I'm sure I don't need to tell anyone here. If you fall, you have to restart the fight. So don't fall. I know I don't have to tell any of you that, though. But, yeah, just don't... If you can help it, don't fall. Don't fall in. Just to show what actually happens, you go back here to this key-shaped room. By the way, this room's shaped like a key. For some reason. Symbolism, right? I guess. And you end up here. Also, I'm sure you learned this during your mentor sessions, but there's a fairy in this tree. So if you do fall, you can bonk that tree, grab the fairy. If you are short on magic and you have a bottle, you can mirror and flute to 2, grab the magic potion, assuming you have rupees. If you don't have rupees or a bottle, actually, if you don't have rupees, you can pull, I think it's, what is it? Is it this? Okay, yeah, there's like a tree pull sort of thing there. I wouldn't worry about that. Honestly, I would just flute to 3. Or mirror first, and then flute to 3. These are like safeties if you happen to mess up Ganon and need emergency magic, right? So flute to 3. Like this. And there is this tree up here. That is a free full magic. If you bonk it. So grab that. And then flute back to 4. Is it, does it drop, big magic? Does it? Oh, okay. Right, stun drops exist. Is it specifically Ice Rod then Hammer? Or is it... Yeah, it must be. That gave me a heart. Or is it just maybe not Hinox's? Hang on. That is the Ether Medallion, my friend. Hold on. Oh, maybe that works too. Okay, yeah, that gives... Oh, okay. One gave a small, one gave a big. So, like, that's... I don't know. I guess you can Ether. You can Ether, like, right here, and then hammer all these enemies for, like... To hope for, like, a big, big magic. Okay, so, like, yeah, that might be probably better, I think. That might be a little better. Excuse me. So yeah, once you get your like heart refill and magic refill, just come back in, try again. Any questions so far about the gold and silver's Ganon fight? Open to any questions. I'll give it a little bit of time because I know there's like a little bit of a stream delay. So in the meantime, I'll take a drink. That makes sense. So it's not a stun drop, but it's more just like there's a it's in the prize pack for like frozen enemies. I guess. It's in the same prize pack as like penguinators. Okay. Pengators. Right, pengators. I always called them penguinators, but I think that's from a different game. In the meantime, I will do the fight. Again, just to showcase the whole thing. I didn't need that last hit. I didn't need that second hit either. So right here, by the way, if Ganon is at the top of the room, especially, and that's your last hit on him for that phase, notice how I like kind of I lined myself up to the left of Ganon. That is so that I get hit I get knocked back from my own sword slash on Ganon towards the torch. So like, I mean, you still have like quite a bit of time to get over there, but just like, I don't know, just don't have your sword slash on Ganon, your spin slash, knock you away from the bottom of torch. That's all. Just like if Ganon's like in the, this is really only relevant if Ganon is in like the top right, like the middle right hand slot, just to like where the left of Link is right now, and a little bit up. If I'm in the same spot when Ganon's there, that's not great, because it's gonna knock me over towards the right hand edge of the room, and it just limits my options for baiting that attack to go to the bottom left torch, right? But I got the blue Ganon, so might as well equip arrows and get that first shot in. You don't have to use Fire Rod, you can use Lamp for that, for the torch glitch. That's just, I'm not gonna bother with doing that. Okay, so yeah, I actually accidentally got a sword slash there to do damage to him, because I hit him on the frame he was teleporting away. Luckily, I noticed that and then went right away to actually just hit him again when he was up on the top right. By the way, you do want to enter this fight with at least 5 arrows more if you're prone to missing sometimes, which happens. I mean, you can miss arrow shots on Ganon. It has happened before. But yeah, just make sure you have arrows. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I did say earlier, torch glitch is not, like, if you don't get torch glitch, let me, here, I'll do the fight from here. If you don't get torch glitch, that was close. You can use Fire Rod to light both the torches fairly quickly. Just be aware of your magic. And if you're low on magic, it might be a good idea to use Lamp. Please, Ganon. Thank you. Yeah, so like if you, so say for whatever reason you like either forget to do torch glitch or you just miss it, right? This is what happens. You can light both the torches like that. Maybe I can get 2 in here? No, not quite. Now, okay. Even if you don't miss Torch Glitch here, be aware if you're, like, wherever you are in the room, trying to light that left or right torch, right? Wherever you are in the room, try your best to be aware of where Ganon is actually teleporting to. Because if you teleport, or if not if you teleport, if Ganon teleports like here and I, for whatever reason, am right there and I try to light the left torch, Ganon just spawns on top of me and I'm taking 8 hearts of damage. So do your best to, and if you'll have an idea of where he's teleporting to if you have at least one torch lit. If you don't, then you just can't see him at all. But once you light one torch, just like take a glance at where he's teleporting to. He'll always teleport in a straight line. So, and you can kind of tell from that straight line with some practice, you can kind of tell where he's actually warping to, right? Just be aware of where he's warping to before you light that second torch so that you don't get Ganon spawning on top of you and hugging you, basically. If you're using the RNG controls in the practice hack, you're going to notice you get bad patterns more often. The real fight is very unlikely to result in something like what you just saw. Do you mean like with warps? Or do you mean in terms of like, wait, do they affect like the amount of Ganon warps? Right, if you run out of arrows. If you run out of arrows, here's what to do. And this is what Tempered has to do. Tempered has to do this. Let me just get to the point where it's relevant for me to talk about this. Okay. So say for instance, I'm like, oh no, I missed, right? Oh no, I missed. Oh no, I'm out of arrows. What do I do now? So what you have to do, unfortunately, is you have to hit him as he's warping away. And this is actually going to transition very nicely into how to use Tempered Sword with Ganon without silvers. So basically the fastest route skips gold and silvers and does this fight without them. Does this fight with Tempered Sword only and no silver arrows. So what's commonly referred to as silverless Ganon. So like I mentioned, there are 2 frames when he's warping away where he is vulnerable to sword slashes, right? So what you're going to do, and this is where the fight becomes like a dance. This fight is like a dance, okay? You're going to bait, spin, and chase. Bait, spin, and chase. Bait, spin, chase. Bait, spin, chase. So that's a bad example because I let go of my sword. So like bait, spin, chase. And I'm swinging my sword to charge for the next one, basically. This is also really bad because I didn't actually get Torch Glitch here. So if you are low on arrows, make sure you get Torch Glitch so that you don't have to deal with having to do this every time. So like bait, spin, chase. Bait, spin, chase. Bait, spin. And I don't have time to get a third because I didn't get Torch Glitch. Ordinarily, if you do get Torch Glitch, you can get 3 spins per warp. Or per torch light. So every time you light the torch, you can get 3 spins in, if your movement is tight enough. 2 is also very good. Getting 2 spins is also good. I will get more into that technique of spinning to hit Ganon in the next part of this tutorial, which, yeah, like I said, this transitions really nicely into Tempered and Silverless. So if you don't get gold sword, you're certainly not getting silvers, and vice versa. So the two, basically the two equipment sets that you have to worry about in this fight is gold and silvers. So like if you're not going to have one without the other, gold and silvers or just tempered. So it's kind of like a double difficulty spike. So again, just be aware of that. If you decide to drop Pyramid Fairy routing, if you decide to drop that from your route, just be aware you're dropping two safeties for the late game, and especially for Ganon, because silvers are really only relevant for Ganon, to be honest. But yeah, so let's go over the fight with Tempered Sword. So this is more advanced stuff, for sure. But I hope that the Gold and Silvers tutorial like helps you learn something if you're just starting out. Also, nice save and quit menu. Let's reset the console. Very cool. Let's reset the console. Oh yeah, mimics. Yeah, mimics are easier. That's right. That is true. That's another difficulty spike in itself. Is like, right. Mimics are a lot different. In a good way. Okay, so Tempered Sword, no silvers. You're gonna enter with Hookshot. Remember how Gold Sword took 6 slashes? Now it's gonna take 12. At least you can still slash. You don't have to spin. You don't have to spin, but it's better in a lot of situations to spin, including one situation in particular. Phase 1 becomes a lot harder. Phase 2 becomes a lot harder. Phase 3 is the same. Phase 4 becomes significantly more difficult. But it's all things you can get used to doing. Even with some of the knowledge that we learned in the Gold and Silvers portion of this session. A lot of that still does apply, but it's like multiplied. So the fight's going to begin, at least for the first 3 slashes, the same exact way. So we're going to drop in. And we're going to slash. Try to slash a second time. If you don't, it's no big deal. Just make sure you slash again. Make sure you slash pretty quickly after this dialogue goes away by either pressing like R or L and then B to slash. So we're going to go 1, 2, and that's actually 3 slashes because the first one was before the dialogue. Now, after your 3rd slash, instead of going in and slashing him again, you're actually going to charge a spin. I like holding down to charge the spin. Some people like holding up. I like down just because I feel like it allows me to get in there a little bit more. Like allows me to get like a little closer to Ganon. I don't know if that's actually true, but I just got used to holding down. You can hold whichever direction you feel comfortable with to do this, I believe. And this is kind of tricky. So what we're going to do is we're going to swing down and move up and basically get like right here. It needs to be a little faster than this though. Get like right underneath where Ganon is, and if you do it quickly enough, you can actually spin and hit him twice like that. I believe that's called the Trident spin. Yeah, I'm a little slow just because I like was opening the save and quit menu. Let me try this again. Sorry about that. I'll showcase in full what it looks like, dialogue and everything. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. So you can hit him twice if you release your spin just as he throws the trident. Because like you kind of clink against the trident and you don't get knocked back like normal. So Or you do, but the trident just kind of cancels it. You like knock off of both of them, essentially. So once again, it looks like that. From here, this, by the way, this is necessary if you want to get a 1-in-1. 1-in-1 is a lot harder with tempered because you need 12. So right now I have actually 7 hits on him because a spin counts as 2, right? The spin counts as two hits essentially. So I need to get 5 more. Now, where he warps to is really important to memorize a couple different strats for. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move straight down. What I do here is I move straight down until I'm maybe just below where like the Triforce emblem is, where like the green squares end, right? But I'm going to walk straight down to avoid the Triforce, avoid the trident. I didn't there because using the saving quit menu kind of screws me up a little bit. But let me try and showcase what I mean here. So like, yeah, I kind of like move a little bit more to the left with my sword out, and I get a spin in once he finishes teleporting. Whoops, do not save and quit. Rule number 1 on Ganon, do not save and quit out of the fight. Yeah, I just move a little bit left to dodge the trident. And that should work no matter where he teleports to. And I also spin no matter what. So like I always charge my spin basically right when I get to the end of the green squares there. And if he warps to one of the 2 bottom middle spaces, you can get a double spin in on him as long as you're like relatively close to the middle of where Ganon is. Because the knockback, like you don't get knockback against the wall, right? So you get 2 hits on him. So if he does do one of the really, so what I do here is when he warps here or the 2 positions to the left of here, meaning the middle left or the far left, I will always do the dash strat through him. And this is where tempered becomes a lot harder. So, okay. Actually, if he's in one of the bottom middle, what I will do is I will try and get another double spin. Like right here, I just need 1 more slash, right? I need 1 more slash. I'm at 11 at this point. Since I was at 7 with the double trident spin, and now I'm at 11, 4 more with the double spin against the wall. So I need to slash him 1 more time. And I'm going to immediately slash again after this. Bad example. I'm going to immediately slash again after this, and then hold my sword out like this, get a double spin, and try and... I was a little bit late on it. Get a double spin, and then dash up through him. Or actually, that was... Okay, bad example there. Let me fix the warp here so I can showcase this better. RNG control, Ganon warps to bottom right. There we go. Yeah, it's hard. That in particular is really hard to do quickly. Usually I'm able to do this. That's weird. Might be doing something slightly wrong. Oh, okay. But yeah, these middle ones are the hardest. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so again, this is assuming that you do the Ice Armos fight correctly and that your arc variable is like what it is after a clean Ice Armos fight, right? Yeah, so the only difference that I did there was I actually just like I made it so that Link got knocked back a little bit more to the left by just being a little bit left of center. So like double spin, I forgot what I was doing. Double spin, slash, and then double spin slightly more to the left. Canceling each time, of course, like, you know, while you're basically as soon as you start your dash, you cancel there. I feel like starting with this one, this is definitely the hardest one to do. The middle right one. Definitely the hardest to get a one-on-one on. Yeah, so you see how I'm just a little bit left of center there, so I get knocked back just a little bit to the left as much as I need to avoid the bat. Now, and this goes for Gold Sword too, by the way, but if you miss this, if you like mess up and you're like, oh, I didn't quite get the one-on-one, whatever, I missed it. He's gonna throw his trident at you. It's like this basically like the continuation of phase 1. This phase and that one in particular is really hard to get, like the 12. But basically, like, it continues as normal, except now you have to deal with Ganon at the top of the room, which with 2 of the 4 positions he can warp to there are very difficult. But if he warps to one of the far right or far left positions, you can actually stand like directly above him. Or am I wrong? Wait a minute. Yeah, you can actually stand like in the corner and get double spins on him like for days. This also applies, like, by the way, like, okay, so I'm intentionally stopping one short here. Yeah, this is another one. But if he's like right here, you can basically stand like right above him and do double spins for days. If he's here, it makes it a lot more difficult to get hits on him. But you can either like approach him from the bottom left and swing up and hit him that way if you're just like a few slashes away from ending the cycle, and then just get the heck out of the way of the bats. Or I don't know, if you're brave, you can get inside the bats and just do some dashes. Yeah, exactly. I'm showing you what I do for this and like what I feel might be. I'm showing you a few different things, right? Like what I feel might be best for somebody who's like just starting out trying, and also some backups as well. But tempered, just be aware that tempered is where it like really gets more difficult and a lot more individualized in terms of like what you actually do, because it really is all about comfort, right? It's all about like being comfortable with the fight, which comes with doing the fight more and more. And as you do the fight more, you experiment more, and and certain strats become like more of a or less of a theory and more of a realization, you know? But yeah, so let's focus on a different pattern though now. Let's focus on the far right pattern. Far right is the easiest, because you can just stand there and slash, or you can not really stand there, but like you can just kind of camp underneath him. Whoops. Far right. There we go. You'll notice that I did the same exact thing to dodge the trident. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hook shot. 9, 10, hook shot. 11, 12. And once again, keeping in mind to hook shot from as low as possible so that you don't hit the torch on the left, and that messes up your one-on-one. So you don't want to do that. Now, for all of these, you know, depending on how good you are or how good you get at it, right, you can just dash through Ganon for the first attack and get dashes instead of slashing him. So once again, like, okay, I didn't change the thing. Whoops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I miscounted. Oh well, just pretend I got it. It's fine. All right, so focusing more on the far right one now. Okay, so far right. This really is just keep slashing. Yeah, and then for that last one, you do want to hookshot the torch. Counting is hard. Counting is... It's almost impossible, they say. Okay, so for the bottom left, very similar to bottom right. But you'll notice, again, that I am moving in the same exact position. That's actually optimal. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, downward facing Ganon is actually faster. Don't worry about it though, honestly. It's not really something to worry about. But yeah, because it's just because he stops teleporting sooner, basically. But essentially you want to do the same thing. I actually didn't do the same thing there, but I like kind of messed it up, but I improvised to save it. Which, again, is a thing that as you get more comfortable with the fight, you'll be able to do that. So let's do bottom left and actually save a state this time. Oof. Whoops, 4, 5. That should be it. Yeah, I counted. Let's go. Round of applause. I counted. All right. So... Oh, don't hug Ganon's butt. Please. Just be aware that if you do get upward facing Ganon, you'll have to do it on the right side. I honestly can't in good faith recommend trying to get that though. I can't in good faith recommend trying to get upward facing Ganon. It saves such little time and makes it a lot harder just because of Ganon is holding up his trident on the right side of him as opposed to the left side. And the way the arc variable works, right? Again, assuming Ice Armos was clean in Ganon's tower, the way the arc variable works, like, you only have a tiny bit of room to actually, like, squeeze in there to the right of Ganon. I guess you could squeeze into the left and maybe dash to the right. Maybe that would work. But... yeah, and then when it's here, you can get a couple slashes in like that. Up against the torch, using the torch as like a way to block your knockback. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It is worth knowing what to do. So like if you get it, if you happen to get it by accident, don't do that. Don't worry about it. Yeah, okay, you don't have enough time to dash, right? Okay. Three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Yeah, and once the bats like do expand, you can just dash through him if you find it easier. I can just like dash through instead of like doing this. Well, I'm really good at accidentally getting this now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ow. Yeah, depending on your health entering the fight, just be aware of like your knockback from your own slashes on Ganon maybe knocking you somewhere you don't want to be, like into a fire bat, for instance. And, okay, so let's look at the far left's RNG here. So the far left, you're always going to be dashing through, and 1, 2, 3, like as soon as he lifts the trident up, dash through, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is where you really want to get the slashes in where you can. I don't think I needed that extra slash. Maybe I miscounted, which is why I did that, but... Right, hang on. Far left. 3, 4, whoops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But you do have time after the bats start sometimes to get your 12th hit if you know you're one short. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. 13th was not necessary. Personal record is 19. Look, not even Ganon deserves that, alright? That's just adding insult to injury at that point. But yeah, so that pretty much does it for each of the RNGs going down. So I think it is time to focus on the last phase. Since this phase is exactly the same as Gold Sword, we don't really have to worry about this phase. But I will actually go through the whole fight again because 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. That was certainly something. I don't recommend having it be that close. Okay, so on the last hit here, you definitely want to be holding your sword out. Blue Ganon be damned, all right? Also, I'm not going to teach anything about cape spins. Yeah, have somebody else teach you about cape spins if you're that that advanced into learning to worry about cape spins, ask somebody more educated than me about cape spins. All right. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to camp not directly underneath him, but to the side of where his shadow is, right? And you're going to let go. You're not going to let go of spin. You're going to let Ganon land, mash the dialogue away, and then Link is just going to automatically spin as long as you're not holding B. And the idea is to get one hit in before the left torch goes out. You're going to do torch glitch. You can do it with lamp if you want, but you're going to want to use fire rod for the rest of the fight afterwards. So basically, just kind of camp here. Link's going to release a sword as soon as I press a button besides for B. So I'm just going to press R to let go. Okay, I got blue Ganon. Oh well. That's fine. So I'm going to equip the fire rod or the lamp. You can equip the lamp if you want and just like mash here. Well, that was kind of too close for comfort. Kind of spooked me a little bit. But here's where the fight really starts. So it's just like I said before. Bait, spin, chase. So first off, we do want to be holding our sword out, right? So during the chase part, you want to be swinging, or you want to swing and hold your sword out during a point that is safe for you to do so. So hold your sword out. Bait, spin, chase. Bait, spin, chase. And I know that since like torch glitch was a little bit weird, I'm not going to be able to get a third hit in there. So I'm just going to camp near the bottom. You can like hold your sword out to the left here. I like doing this actually. I like holding my sword out just to keep Link's angle because like it keeps me facing towards the torch, right? And I'm going to wait for Ganon to warp downwards. And I'm just going to kind of react to wherever he's going, right? And just making sure that he doesn't warp directly on top of me, of course. And if he is, I will move. That's important. Oh, I was a little bit early there. So ideally, I would wait for him to finish warping before I light the torch. That way I can get a hit. Basically, he won't fire at me if I do that. But yeah, you want to wait for him to finish warping completely. And by that, I mean, like, when Ganon starts, like flashing, that's when he's finished warping, right? So, like, he will, at that point, if I were to light the torch, he'll, like, cover his face with his cape, or, like, he'll dab, right? He'll dab, and then he will try and warp away immediately. He won't shoot at you. And that gives you enough time to get 3 hits in instead of 2. If you do this well enough. So I actually was a little early there. I lit the torch before my timing's a little messed up because I'm teaching, but, and I'm like having the save and quit menu up the whole time. But, basically, yeah, you want to wait until he finishes warping and then go ahead and light the torch. So once again, bait, spin, chase, bait, spin, chase, except I was a little, like, late with the torch glitch, or with the torch lighting. I was early with the torch lighting, so therefore I was only able to get two hits in. I think I only got 1 hit in, but I could have gotten 2, right? So let's try that again. There we go. That's the correct timing. And then you can get a spin in. Okay, I was a little bit late on that one. That one's hard. This is a time where you really want to be aware of the lag frames, by the way. So whenever you light the torch, there will be lag frames where you'll have to wait a little bit. But yeah, it's just bait, spin, chase. And sometimes you don't even really have to chase. It's just like, it's more of a bait, spin, charge. Bait, spin, and by charge, I mean charge your sword. Not charge at Ganon. But like bait, spin, charge sword, bait, spin, charge, sword, and then chase. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. This really is this phase of Ganon is like an art form, when done well. And yeah, don't walk off the edge. Don't do that either. That is also an art form, not walking off the edge. See, let me just get back to that point again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ow. Let me do this. Random. There we go. So this is a true Ganon fight now. If you want to call it that. And he's still warping like mad, which, you know, is par for the course for me personally. Ah, yes, this brings me back. There we go. Oh, this really brings me back. Okay, so once again, let me save a state here. I'm not gonna try that. So you can do this with Fire Rod as well. My strat for doing this with Fire Rod is really freaking weird, and I would not suggest that anybody do it like this. I would find your own timing that works for you. I shoot this torch from so far away. Like I will literally stand like here and do it. Because it just like the timing works out for me personally to do that. There I knew I wasn't gonna get 3 hits in, so I just kind of waited there. 1, 2. Now I want this hit to be kind of towards the torch. 2, 3. I wanted the hit to be more to the bottom, so I see. I tried to shoot the torch during the lag frames, so it didn't work. So again, just something to be aware of. And again, this fight is hard to do perfectly. This fight is hard to do, period. But like, again, 2 spins per torch per torch lighting is still very good. And that, like, honestly, if you're just learning this fight, that should be your goal. That should be the goal you strive for, is getting 2 spins per torchlight, if that makes sense. But in general, right, I guess like the last thing I wanted to go over here is just like with Gold Sword, like, you know how like I try to hit myself I don't try to hit myself. I try to hit Ganon in a way where it'll knock Link back towards the bottom left torch, right? Just like that, I'm trying to position Link relative to Ganon when trying to get my spin, right? I try to position myself relative to Link in a way that lets me react to more RNGs more consistently. So like, in other words, I'm trying to hit myself towards the middle of the room. I'm trying to knock myself back towards the middle of the room. More or less. Oh, this might be a tough one. Nope. Yeah, that was a tough one. This is also another tough one. Nope. 2, 3. This is another tough one just because of where I was. I got it because I pumped, I'm pretty sure. But you see how quick that sword slash was? after lighting that torch, like that was kind of necessary to get that first spin. But again, it's difficult because it's very feel-based because of the lag frames that happen when you're lighting that torch. So like as soon as the torch gets lit, there are like, I don't know, 10, somewhere between 10 and 15 frames of lag. That's a guess, but it feels like that much. But yeah, so just be aware of that lag before swinging your sword as soon as humanly possible. Also, I think I'm kind of locked into an RNG. Oh, I missed Torch Clutch. Nice. I think I'm kind of locked into an RNG here. At least for, like, for that those first couple of warps. So for that one, I actually shot the torch super early. Because I knew I had to get over there on time. Great. I knew I had to be quick with that one too. I was just a little too quick. Right. So yeah, that's your Tempered Sword Silverless fight. So some nuances involving like where exactly he warps to, and I kind of touched on it a little bit a few seconds ago. So if I'm like, say for instance, he's like, he's about to warp up, right? But he warps up, and I'm like aligning myself with the torch to relight it, and I see him like warping to the far right. I know I'm gonna have to book it over there, basically, to get the spin in, to get that first spin in. So I'm cutting it really close by being as early as I am with like the firing of the torch. But I need to be at least a little bit early with that in order to get all the way over. Because as soon as he finishes warping, right? As soon as he warps to a place, there's like a timer. There's a timer that starts counting down when he finishes warping. And when you light the torch and Ganon dabs, right? When you light the torch, that timer does not reset. It just stops. So say for instance, there's like I don't know exactly what the value is. Say it's 60 frames, right? And I light the torch 5 frames after Ganon finishes warping. That counter's going to be at 55. So I have 55 more frames to get over here and get that spin in, right? Say I light the torch 10 frames after he finishes warping. That's 10 frames off the timer. Right? So I have 50 frames now to get over there. And by the way, 60 is just a made up number. I'm not like, it might be 60, it might not be, I don't know. But whatever the number is, however many frames after he finishes warping that I light the torch, it is a fixed number. That's all I know for sure. It's a fixed number minus the amount of frames after he finishes warping that you light the torch. I hope that makes sense, because listening to myself say that makes no sense. So I hope at least that makes a little bit of sense. But like basically think of it like this. Again, there's a timer counting down. As soon as Ganon finishes warping, that timer stops. Right? Or rather, sorry, that timer starts when Ganon finishes warping. When you light the torch, the timer stops temporarily until Ganon stops dabbing. Okay? It resumes as soon as Ganon is, like, ready to warp again. But basically what I'm saying is sometimes you have to light the torch earlier in order to have a chance to get to, like, for instance, this far too, and frankly, that's probably more of an advanced thing that you might or might not have to actually worry about. But yeah, that is how that works. When Ganon warps and finishes warping somewhere, there's a timer until he warps away. So you kind of have to manage that time, right? By hitting the torch. You can hit the torch pretty late, or you can hit it early. You can still get the spin in if he's close, but if he's far, you have to err on the side of early in order to get it. In fact, I would err on the side of early because you can still get a spin in, right? Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it feels like Ganon warps away super quickly. That's probably why. If anybody has actual in-depth info on what that initial timer value is, it's again a thing that's good to know, not entirely necessary if you can feel the fight well enough. But again, we're getting into like pretty advanced stuff here. But yeah, if you're missing spins, that might be why. Make sure the torch is lit when he's blowing up. It saves about 60 frames of lag. I didn't know that. Thank you. I actually did not know that. Very cool. Okay, so once again, the final phase of the fight. I'll do my best to give a decent example. Yeah, so there I had to move out of the way because he was going to warp right on top of me if I didn't. Nice. Good. I don't think I could have done that much better. So yeah, that's a really good example of what like a really good final phase of Ganon with Tempered Sword looks like. And again, two spins is still very good, especially when you're just starting out with Tempered only. Don't worry about getting 3 until you get very comfortable with what you're doing in this fight. So let me try and do one from start to finish. So this is random. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Because I think we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. And also, if anybody has any questions as well about like the mental side of like speedrunning / grinding / practicing, also feel free to ask. And after this fight is concluded, I will start going more into that as well. So let's do a full-on Ganon fight with just Tempered. Oh my god. 6, 7. Yeah, I still have plenty of time. Thankfully. Again, those other slashes were not necessary. I was just kind of... I have a habit of swagging more than I want to on this fight. More than I probably should. Yep. He's just warping between 2 places, too. Actually, let me make sure. This is... No, I don't have any RNG control on. That's just Ganon for you. Amazing. Oh, okay. Lucky I saw that. I thought he might have been done warping, but he was not. Yeah, so see how early that shot was? I needed it to be that early. This is tough. Nope, I messed it up. All right. Oh, what? He wasn't done warping. Okay. Just gonna wait down here. No way I was getting a third in. And I knew it. This is... Ugh. You could see the pumping in Link's movement. I pumped so hard to make that. By the way, so I'm sure, like, maybe some mentors mentioned pumping to their mentees. I did, but I was like, don't really worry about it unless you're going upstairs or, like, unless you're going, like, on a straight tile-wide path. Pumping does matter a lot more, and this is why stairs are so important too, like pumping upstairs. Pumping does matter a lot more when you are moving slower than walking speed. So, like, for instance, when you hold out your sword, you do move you do move a lot slower. So, like, pumping does help a lot. At least I find. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Because I think when you walk, you move 2 1 2 1 2 1, like 2 pixels, then 1 pixel, then 2 pixels, then 1 pixel every other frame. I believe when you hold sword out, it's 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but because you're resetting that cycle, the twos are going to happen way more often in relation to if you're just walking, in relation, right? So, yeah. Like, pumping does matter quite a bit when you hold your sword out, like this. Two, 1 1 1 cardinal, yeah, and then 1 1. Okay, so when you move, so basically it's when you release. Then, anyway, we're getting really deep in the weeds here, but yeah, that is pretty much all I have on the Ganon fight. I hope you learned something. I learned something as well. I learned a couple different things, so thank you. Never stop learning, y'all. Never stop learning. That's number one as far as my the mental game for me is concerned, is never stop learning. But yeah, so I guess like talking about like the mental game a little bit, right? Yep. Have always been a huge proponent. Now that like basically like the mentor program has almost concluded, right? Don't get stuck practicing just one thing. I'm a huge proponent of the best form of practice is doing no resets. No reset runs from start to finish. And that's just how you learn the most, in my opinion. You learn more and you gain more game feel. And by game feel, I mean just like your comfort playing that game, right? Link to the Past is a game that requires a ton of game feel to perform at the level that you want to, right? So doing no resets is huge, and this is a great game to do no resets for, right? Like, there's really no situation except maybe doing fake flippers and soft locking. There's really no situation where you will want to completely reset your game in order to avoid like a massive time loss. Like, the closest thing is like dying to cold stare, other than the fake flipper thing, like dying to cold stare. But even then, there are ways to get around that. Like, dying to cold stare, will, of course, with no magic. Like, by the way, for those who don't know, just do swamp. If you die to cold stare, just go do swamp. Complete swamp. Come back to ice. But like, yeah. So again, yeah, and yeah, races are great as well. Races are a very good way to, yeah, if you are somebody who like really I don't know, if you don't have a lot of time on your hands, then segment practice is very good. I think segment practice is nearly as important, honestly, to like practice a certain segment as no reset runs. And those improve your game feel, but really only within that segment, unless it's like a segment that includes all of what you do in a no reset, which is very rare, and I don't think that actually exists in this game. Correct me if I'm wrong, I can't think of any, but yeah. So I'm just gonna take a quick drink. Give me one sec. But yeah, do no resets. And try not to get too down on yourself playing this, because I'm here to tell you right now, my PB from 8 years ago, I have a 124 in this game. This game is fucking hard. Okay? This game is hard. Don't get too down on yourself. It is such a hard game. And just like, don't get too disappointed if you are struggling. It is going to take time to gather up that game feel, right? So like, and I know it can be hard, but just like be aware. Like this game is super super hard to improve at. So just again, like I know it's easy for me to sit here and say, but like don't get too down on yourselves. Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like that's actually like this is something that I've gotten better at over the years too. Like comparing yourself to others is along with striving for perfection is the enemy of fun when it comes to speedrunning. So like striving for perfection, I feel like such a small percentage of speedrunners actually enjoy doing that. But like it's that and comparing yourself to others that are really just like the extinguisher of fun when it comes to speedrunning. So focus on your own improvements and revel in your own improvements, because it's no small feat to improve. PBs, like, you know, be proud of your PBs, be proud of your progress. Because, you know, like I, it's like I said, like that is something I've gotten better at as well, is, not comparing myself to others and really just focusing on self-improvement. Like I am somebody who really, really like the enjoyment I get from speedrunning. Most of the enjoyment I get from speedrunning is from the feeling of self-improvement. Find somewhere to brag about your PBs. Yeah, too. I think the Link to the Past Discord has a PB brag channel. In fact, it might even be called PB brag. So yeah, definitely post your PBs. For sure. Post your PBs, be proud of them outwardly and inwardly. And this is a fun hobby. It is supposed to be a fun hobby. Make it as fun as you can. And right on. Hell yeah. Post bloopers too. Post yourself dying in the room before Aga 2 after Moldorm 2. Yeah. Yes. That too. What else about the mental side, honestly? What else? What else? When to take a break? Yeah, burnout is real. Like just like anything else, as fun as speedrunning might be for you, and hopefully it is fun for you, it still can lead to burnout if you do it too much. So, like, if at any point you feel like you're just not really having fun anymore, if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying the journey to improvement, if you're not enjoying the game in general, if you're not enjoying yourself in any way, shape, or form when you're speedrunning, maybe take a break, whether it be for like a month, a week, a couple of days, one day, uh, depending on who you are. Um, sometimes that can be necessary. It is okay to take a break. Yeah, exactly. Like the game's not going anywhere. I have speedrun like 12 different 2D Zeldas, and I have come back. I have taken large breaks from almost every one of them, including this one. But the game hasn't left. Imagine that. The game hasn't gone anywhere. I'm here playing it as proof, you know? So, but yeah, it's like, because I will be real with you. The reason I don't run this game much anymore is because I did get burned out on the game. I did get burned out. So I moved on. And like this goes beyond this game, by the way. This goes far beyond this game and more into like just speedrunning in general. Do not hesitate to take a break if you feel like you aren't having fun with something. Because like I pushed myself so hard with this game back when I played it, and it got to a point where it wasn't really fun for me anymore. I did still find fun with speedrunning the game and like doing maybe the occasional NMG run, but randomizer. Like I got super into randomizer and I enjoyed myself that way. And Lord knows someday I might come back to playing this game in a more traditional speedrun sense someday, but it's it's part of the process. Keep that in mind too. It's part of the process. The process of improvement does involve taking some breaks every now and again. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, and don't feel ashamed for taking a break either. That's another thing.
Oh, good job, TGH. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, hang on, something important I have to do. With that, whoa, Discord, please. With that, we did it. Shout outs to Yoho and rest in peace, Yoho. And I believe that's all I have.
Thank you. Yes, before mentor program 2025, Yoho had expressed interest in being a mentor, and because of his health, he was not able to commit to the program. But he did spend some time working with me personally, and he encouraged me to not give up. So we did it.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So next up is going to be the final progress race on Saturday, March 28th at noon Eastern Time. That's Moogle Mod versus Retromel versus Ray Zeus. So go ahead and join us, cheer them on. Enjoy the rest of the week of practicing with your mentors. If you do have a mentor going out of town for whatever reason, you have been assigned with the substitute, and your other groups will still be there so that you can keep in touch, because this program is not just about learning or getting that PB. It is about learning. It's also about forming connections in the community and building relationships with people who you can ask if you have a question, or, form some sort of relationship and have something in common just to talk with. So we want to be inclusive while also learning and having fun. And the game does get hard, like TGH said. We're in the very hardest parts of the run, and some mentees may be behind, and it is okay to be behind. So hang in there. Everyone's doing great. We're going to go ahead and send a raid out to Zelda Speedruns 2. They are in the process of a co-stream with it's for type 1 diabetes, a charity. So that's where we're sending you guys out today. And then, like I said, we'll be back next Saturday for our final race, which will cover the entire game. So this was 8 weeks of lectures. Thank you to all of our mentors, and I will do a program closure on the after the final race on Saturday. So thanks again, guys. Have a